Hello YouTube, PokemonShowdown here, and today for you guys I have a showdown live, and it is going to be in the NU tier. So of course, if you guys do enjoy this, then make sure to hit the like button down below and let me know if you guys would like me to do more of these long showdown lives. I'm pretty positive that a lot of you do enjoy long lives, although I will from time to time maybe do like just one battle lives in Showdown just when I don't have a lot of free time. Like right now I do have enough time to be able to invest into a long Showdown live. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below. And NU recently has been a tier that I've really been enjoying. However, though I've not really played much of it, I do want to get back into it how I was back in X and Y, and I made this pretty solid team. It's more of a balanced team. We have a solid wall core between Mega Steelix, which is so bulky. We have physical defensive Primplop, which is a phenomenal defogger. Let me tell you guys, Primplop is surprisingly bulky. I would definitely recommend you guys to try this mon out. And then finally off we have physically defensive Vileplume, which is still pretty bulky in its own right, and it's kind of a check to, well, I wouldn't say it's a check, but it's a switch in to Banded Pangoro, which right now is probably the biggest offensive threat in the tier. Also, I know you may have noticed that I have a rest on Steelix. That is because obviously Steelix does not have any form of recovery because of it having Steelixite. So if I do rest with this, I can bring it back up to full HP and then aromatherapy with my Vileplume. Although I do want to put Toxic over rest. I may try it out, just see how it does, but from my experience, rest has been really efficient with aromatherapy. Sorry guys. Then we have a tank in the form of Assault Vest Hariyama, which is a very solid switch into a fire type Pokemon like Pyroar or Typhlosion. Then we have Scarf, Rotom, and offensive Archeops, which offensive Archeops is something I haven't seen in a while. Most Archeops nowadays are the anti-lead Archeops with Stealth Rocks, Endeavor, Head Smash, Taunt. So I'm hoping that offensive Archeops will definitely put in some work. And yeah guys, that is the introduction to the team. So with that being said, let's get this started. So we got our first battle here, and this dude has a pretty cool looking team. I like Cacturne. Honestly, Cacturne is probably one of my favorite Pokemon that I've just never really ever used. So I may actually get around to making a team with that because I absolutely love its design. And speaking of fire spam, he has Typhlosion and Magmortar, so my Hariyama will definitely come in handy in this match. Looking at leads though, I want to say he's either going to lead off with Sandslash or the Cacturne, so I kind of just want to lead off with my Archeops. Although at the same time I could lead off with my Hariyama, because I do have Fake Out. He may have rocks on his Seismitoad and just have Rapid Spin on his Sandslash. I think I'm actually just going to lead off with my Archeops, as he decides to lead off with his Seismitoad. I do not want to mess around with this thing hitting me with a Skull, because Archeops can definitely put in some work to his team. So what I'm going to do is just decide to go straight for the U-turn on out into my Vileplume most likely. However though, I could actually bring in my Primplop just to be able to go for the Toxic, but he may also have aromatherapy on his Vileplume, but I can defog against his Toad. He may actually just go for the Scald. So what I'm going to do is just bring in my Vileplume, as he does end up going straight for the Scald. If he does burn me, I do not care about it because I do have the aromatherapy. So what I could do now is go for the Sludge Bomb, or maybe pull a double switch. I kind of want to pull a double switch, but I also feel that's a little bit too obvious. I think I'm going to stay in and I'm going to Sludge Bomb, and then just see what he wants to do. As he does end up going for the Stealth Rocks, just as I thought he would, I'm going to be able to get off a crit with the Sludge Bomb. I don't get the poison, which is fine by me, as this turn I could actually just go for the Giga Drain, but I think I'm actually going to Sludge Bomb once more, as he brings in the Magmortar, thinking I would Giga Drain, as I get off a nice bit of damage on him. The question is though, is he going to go straight for the Fire Blast? I think he is, and I still feel that Hariyama is a safe solid switch-in, as he does just go straight for the Flamethrower. He does unfortunately though get a crit, which is a tad bit annoying. I'm actually going to go straight for the knockoff predicting Vileplume. but he actually brings in the Seismitoad, so I'm able to get rid of that thing's leftovers, which is pretty good for me. And I should be able to just switch directly into my Vileplume because I am physically defensive. I should be able to easily take an Earthquake, but he ends up going for the knockoff of his own as I managed to get the I was gonna say Stun Spore activated, but I get the Effect Spore activated, and I do want a Sludge Bomb again. I really do. The question is though, but if I do get rid of this, I won't have to worry about one ground type that can switch into my Rotom. And he will be weakening my Hariyama. So the thing what I'm gonna do is actually double into my Archeops, predicting him to want to switch out. As he does end up bringing in the Magmortar, this puts me in a solid situation, as I will be able to go straight for the Acrobatics. I have no reason to not go for Acrobatics because it does hit his whole team for neutral damage, and if he does decide to fodder off the Seismitoad, I'm perfectly fine with that. As he brings in the Sand Slash, this is not a switch in, as that does 58%, and I'm going to be able to easily 2-hit KO this Sand Slash, which means once I get rid of his Seismitoad, I will be able to easily just go for the Volt Switch with my Rotom. So he brings in Cacturne. I don't know how much damage Sucker Punch does to Archeops. Let me see. I do have a damage calc right here. Put a new attacker, Cacturne. I guess Swords Dance is a normal set. And oh my lord, he will be able to easily OHKO me with the Sucker Punch. Actually, would it be worth the risk of going for Roost? One though, because I think my Steelix should be able to take this one-on-one, so I don't want to mess around with it, so I'm going to switch right into my Steelix, as he does end up going for the safe Sucker Punch. This is really good for me, because now I can basically Mega Evolve, and I should be able to just go for the Earthquake, I believe, because I should be able to finish off this Seismitoad. However, though, I do want to go for Heavy Slam, because, yeah, I should definitely outspeed Seismitoad after the Paralysis, so I think I'm actually just going to Mega Evolve and Heavy Slam. As he does decide to switch directly into a Seismitoad, I'm going to be able to get off a solid bit of damage, as an Earthquake will be enough to finish him off. So, I'm able to get rid of both his ground types, which is really, really good for my Rotom, as he brings in the Vileplume. I am fearing that he could go for the Sleep Powder, which could be really bad for me. And Steelix basically takes on his Cacturne, which I really need it for right now. My Vileplume does take it on to an extent, I suppose, as well. So what I could do is bring in my Vileplume, and because I do run a bit of speed EVs, I may actually be faster than him, and I can just Synthesis and go from there, I want to say. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring in my Vileplume just to be able to go for the Synthesis, or I could play the Aggressor, as he turns out to have the hidden power of Fire! Okay, I was not expecting that whatsoever. Should I just Sludge Bomb actually? I may just actually go straight for Sludge Bomb, just to be able to get off some damage on this Vileplume to ensure that an Acrobatics from my Archeops finishes it off, as he's going to be able to finish me off with one more Sludge Bomb. I can now bring in Archeops, and because I did have an odd amount of HP, I am above Defeatist range, so Acrobatics will be more than enough to finish off this Vileplume. I guess I could have Synthesis, or do I have Moonlight actually? Sorry. Moonlight, yeah, I could have gone for the Moonlight with Vileplume, but ultimately it would have just dragged out the battle, and I don't think it would have been worth it in the long run. And this is a situation where, honestly, I think I can just go for... No, because he could predict my switch out. This is actually a bit of a tough situation. I saw that he didn't take Life Orb damage, so he could be Focus Sashed. Archeops is still an offensive check to this Magmortar. I almost want to risk going for Roost. I'm gonna risk it. As he does end up going for the Sucker Punch, I'm able to roost back up to full HP, and then I should be able to get a free switch into my Steelix this turn. And much like before, I can just go for the Earthquake or go for the Heavy Slam, and I think getting up rocks in this situation will be better for me because I'll be able to get off residual damage on the Typhlosion and the Mag Mortar as he decides to go for the C-Bomb, which does not do entirely too much damage, and it turns out that he has Life Orb. Foolish mistake on my part. The reason that Life Orb damage didn't show is because he never did any damage with Sucker Punch. So yeah, that is going to be the victory in my favor. So solid first match, and with that being said, let's go get another one. Alright guys, so we got the next battle here, and this dude has a pretty interesting looking team. He has no ground type, but he does unfortunately have a Lantern, so that's rather annoying. Leads though, I kind of want to say he's going to lead off with the Crustle. So I want to lead off with my Primpluck, which I think is what I'm going to do. And he does end up leading off with the Crustle, so this is good for me, because I can just go straight for the Scald. As long as this Lantern does not water absorb, I should be fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and place the timer on him so he can make a move. And Crustle really shouldn't be able to do anything to Primpluck. So I'm really not worried about what he does want to do. Although he could have Water Absorb actually on his Cack turn. So I think I'm actually going to go for Toxic. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Toxic instead. Okay, so he ended up going for the Shell Smash. Whoa. That's actually a little bit scary. But I don't think he should be able to finish me off in one hit, as he decides to go for the knockoff. I'm hoping this will be enough. He just barely lives. Just barely lives. So I think I'm gonna try to get on my Stealth Rocks, hopefully, as I do manage to take the Earthquake, which is great. Unfortunately though, he will be able to finish me off, which does kind of suck. And should I go for... damn it, should I defog? I kind of just want to defog to prevent him from getting up rocks, but I don't think this should be that big of an issue to my team. So I'm just going to Scald again. But he decides just to go straight for the knockoff, as it's going to be a double down. So he may actually have Stealth Rocks on his Milk Tank, which is something I do have to watch out for. As for what he wants to bring in, I think maybe just bringing in my Hariyama is the best thing for me to do. Because I do have Fake Out, as he actually brings in the Milk Tank, so this is really good for me. Because I'm not going to mess around with this thing, I'm going to go straight for the close combat. Even if he wants to bring in the Weezing, I'm perfectly fine with that, because I will be able to wear it down, as I get off a solid bit of damage. And it turns out that he does indeed have the Black Sludge, so he can just freely go for Will-O-Wisp right now. But I think what I'm going to do is actually go for Knockoff. This way I can get rid of his Black Sludge recovery. Unfortunately though, he does end up missing the Will-O-Wisp, but after he hit me with Willow, I was going to bring in Vileplume either way, so he can just go for it again. But it turns out that he has the Pain Split. Are you kidding me? Okay, that's actually rather annoying. So I'm just going to Sludge Bomb just to see how much damage it's going to do to him, and it's not doing too much, unfortunately. This is going to be a rather annoying mon to take down. I am just going to switch right into my Rotom, I think, as it turns out that he has the Flamethrower. So what I could do is Volt Switch, but what I want to do is Shadow Ball, and I'm hoping he won't bring in the Milk Tank, which thankfully he doesn't. He actually decides to go for the Sludge Bomb. So now the question is, does he want to stay in or switch out? I'm going to predict him to switch into Milk Tank, and I'm going to bring in my Hariyama, as that is exactly what happened. So this is really good for me, because now I'm back in the same situation where I can just go straight for the close combat. The reason why I'm going straight for close combat as opposed to going for Fake Out is because he can bring in Typhlosion or Cacturne, predicting me to go for Fake Out, as, oh my lord, that did way too much damage to this Milk Tank. I'm actually kind of worried that a Bullet Punch won't be enough to finish him off. but I think I'm gonna have to take the risk. Hold on. I'm gonna run a damage calc actually. Not Vileplume. Oh, no, damn it. Miltank. And you curse Hariyama. Okay, why is there only doubles? Whatever. Adamant. Okay, so Bullet Punch, even with this thing not invested, does nothing. Although after Curse, how fast is he at -1 speed? Does this not change? I don't know if I would speed him after -1. I'm gonna make a risky play in close combat. As he milk drinks, yes! And I'm gonna be able to finish him off. Okay, good thing I did not switch out. Because getting rid of that Miltank was really good for me. Because if I had switched out, the only way I would have been able to stop it was Trick for my Rotom. And I want to save the Scarf on my Rotom for his Typhlosion if it's not Scarfed. Plus I can also Trick the Lantern or Trick the Cacturn if it is a Swords Dance variant. So he does get a free switch into his Lantern this turn. And I'm really fearing that he can go straight for the Volt Switch. However though, I think... no, because... I'm in a tough situation. Because he can just Volt Switch right into his Weezing. So I think I'm going to make an aggressive play and switch into my Rotom. As he unfortunately goes for the Scald. Damn it. That's not too bad actually, because I do have Earthquake on my Archeops. And I'm just going to go straight for the Earthquake. Even if he wants to bring in his Cacturn, I'm fine with that, as Earthquake is going to be enough to finish off this Lantern, which is really great. And we know from the first match that I can indeed take a Sucker Punch, if it comes down to it. Which I think I'm going to stay in and do, as I live on 32 U-turn. Why? He lived on 1. Come on. That's actually a little bit upsetting. It's a little bit upsetting, but it's fine. I'm not too bothered by it. Because I believe at this point the battle is basically mine. Because if he locks himself into Extrasensory, I do have Steelix. And Bullet Punch should be able to finish off this Weezing. So yeah, it doesn't matter what he wants to lock himself into with Typhlosion. I will indeed be able to pull out the victory. Although I do kind of actually want to save this. But I guess it doesn't really matter in the long run, as he decides to go for the Eruption. And actually, after Stealth Rock's Eruption is slightly stronger than Fire Blast, so don't think it was a bad play for him to go for the Eruption as opposed to going for Fire Blast. So yeah guys, that was battle number 2. So with that, I think we're going to get 1 more or maybe 2 more, depending on how long the next battle is. So yeah, be right back. Alright guys, so we got the next battle here, and this opponent is bad, because I'm going to say she, because she's using Lumineon. No, okay, you're not bad if you use Lumineon, but I honestly think that Prinplup is just a much better defogger than Lumineon. So she obviously does not like Stealth Rocks on her side of the field. So Magmortar is not going to be too big of an issue as long as he doesn't have Psychic. I should be able to deal with him one-on-one. Archeops should not be able to OHKO my Steelix with any move that it typically carries, so I'm not worried about that. Unfortunately, she does have Rhydon, so I can't really Volt Switch with my Rotom. So looking at leads, I honestly just want to lead off with Prinplup. I really do. I really just want to lead off with Prinplup. As he leads off, or she leads off. Well, okay, if I say he and then she and I just kind of mix them up, then I apologize. So she's going to lead off with Rhydon as I lead off with my Prinplup. I can just go straight for the Scald, but I think what I'm going to do is actually go for the Toxic, predicting her to switch into Cryogonal. Yep, so now I'm able to get some residual damage on this Cryogonal, which is going to be very beneficial to me. And I know I can take a Freeze Dry, but I really don't want to, so I'm going to make the safe switch into my Hariyama, as she does end up making the safe play. And I don't think that Freeze Dry has a chance to freeze, actually, if I'm not mistaken. It's just super effective against water types. So in this situation, I can honestly just go straight for the close combat, and it's the same thing as the previous match. If I fake out, she gets a free switch into one of her threats, but by going straight out for close combat, I guarantee a huge hit on whatever she decides to bring in off of a base 120 physical attack stats. So either way, I'm in a good situation to just straight up close combat and destroy something on her team. So as you can see, Lumineon will be easily 2 KO'd. However though, Lumineon is faster than me, so if she does go for the Scald and burns me, that could put me in a bad situation. So I kind of want to switch out, honestly, because I want to keep this Hariyama at as much HP as possible. So I think what I'm going to do is just bring in my Rotom, as she actually goes for the Ice Beam, predicting me to bring in my Vileplume most likely. And that does, okay, that was not stab, that did way too much damage. So I'm guessing this is more of an offensive Lumineon, as I'm going to be able to just safely go for the Shadow Ball. And I kind of wanted to Volt Switch, but then that would have given her a free switch into Rhydon. Well, I guess either way she can just bring in Rhydon now, which probably wouldn't be too good for me actually. I do still have Prinplup though, which should be able to take it one-on-one, so I'm not in too bad of a situation, I would say. But she actually ends up bringing in the, I was going to say Vileplume, but she brings in Hariyama as I can bring in my Vileplume, and as long as this does not have Ice Punch, I have nothing to worry about. As I get the effect spore, she gets put to sleep. I'm sorry, but that's actually so funny. This does now allow me to get a free switch into my Archeops. I'm sorry, but that's actually pretty hilarious. So she doubles into Cryogonal, and I honestly think I can just go for U-turn. No! Why would you live? Why would you just barely live that? It's fine though, as Hariyama can take any move she wants to go for, and now the question is, do I want to... Actually, yeah, I don't think I lose anything by just bullet punching. So I'm able to get rid of the Cryogonal and the Lumineon, which means if I can get on my Stealth Rocks, Magmortar, and Archeops will not be that big of an issue to me. So she's going to bring in the Magmortar. Honestly, this is my perfect chance just to get off a huge amount of damage. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So she ends up going for the Flamethrower, I guess maybe fearing that I would be fearing a Psychic. But I'm able to straight up OHKO Magmortar, which is great. As her best switch-in is this Archeops, which honestly at this point I don't think I really need Hariyama, so I'm probably just going to leave it in for Death Fodder and just try to get off as much damage as I can with Bullet Punch. Because I think Bullet Punch actually does bring it down below Defeatist, as it does 52%, and she overpredicts thinking I would want to switch out, and she's going to end up forfeiting. Which at that point, the battle was basic. Oops, sorry about that. I ended up clicking pause while I was finishing that sentence. But yeah, at that point the battle was basically mine. So I think there's enough time to get just one final battle. So with that being said, guys, I will see you in a split second, actually. Alright guys, so we got the final battle here, and this dude has a pretty cool looking team. He has Malamar, which Malamar is actually something I really want to try out, so I may make a team around that. He most likely has Mega Audino, which could be a bit of a problem. Unfortunately, as long as he has Seismitoad, I won't be able to do much Volt Switching with my Rotom. Looking at leads though, I think I can just lead off with my Prinplup, as he decides to lead off with his Rotom. I don't know why I couldn't say that name. So I'm just going to stay in, as thankfully he does not flinch me, which is really nice for me. And what I could do this turn is just switch directly on now into my Archeops, actually. Just because I feel the switch into Steelix is a little bit too obvious, as he brings in the Audino. Does Audino have anything to really hit me with, though, is the question. I think I'm going to be aggressive and just go straight for the Acrobatics, as that does nothing. My lord. Okay, this thing is way too fat. Holy crap. I honestly don't even know the stats of Mega Audino. slash data mega. Oh, dear. Here's a base 126 defense. Jesus. Alright, so I ended up going for the yawn. And honestly, because I have aromatherapy on my Vileplume, I really do not care. Plus, nothing on his team safely switches into acrobatics in the first place. As he decides to bring in the Torkoal, I can get off a huge chunk of damage on that. And I want to say I could even just stay in and try to wake up, to be honest. At the same time, I don't want him to just freely get up hazards, though. So, I think what I'm going to do is switch into my Primplup. And just get on my rocks, possibly? No, I think I'm actually just going to go straight for Scald. As I outspeed him. However, though, that does no damage at all. Okay, then, this is not good. But I am brought down into Torrent. So I think what I'm going to do is actually get on my Stealth Rocks this turn, predicting him to switch into Seismitoad, which is exactly what happens. And now what I can do is go for a Toxic, because as long as I keep up offensive pressure, I should be able to prevent that Mega Audino from just being able to go for the Heal Bell if he does carry it, as he decides to go for the knockoff, which thankfully I'm going to be able to live and in return poison this Seismitoad, which now does give me a free switch into my Vileplume. However, though, I do want to be aggressive and actually go for Sludge Bomb, predicting him to want to bring in Torkoal or actually bring in the Rotom as he tries to bring in Rotom. And thankfully, because of the Toxic I got off with my Primplup, I bring him down to the point where even if he Volt Switches, he's not going to be able to survive another Stealth Rock switching. And on the off chance that he did Volt Switch into his Rotom, I decide to bring in, not Rotom, but on the off chance that he decides to bring in Torkoal, I decide to bring in my Rotom. Actually, hold on, my mouth is a little dry, I apologize, hold on. Okay, we're good. Normally when I stutter, it's because my mouth is dry. But I got a nice little bottle of water here, so we're good, we're good. The question is, though, do I want to Volt Switch? Because if I go for Shadow Ball, that gives him a blatant free switch into Audino, allowing him to just go for the Heal Bell. And I want to keep the Toxic on Seismitoad because it is a tad bit annoying to my team. However, though, I guess I lose nothing in just Shadow Balling, but ultimately, I think Volt Switch is my better play, as I'm able to outspeed him, which means I could just switch right into my Hariyama this turn, I want to say. But if I do bring in Hariyama, that gives him a free switch into Malamar. So by bringing in my Steelix, I'm hoping that'll bait him to want to bring in Seismitoad as opposed to bringing in Malamar, because I don't want to risk Malamar being scarfed and just being able to plow through my team. Although I guess if he is scarfed, it would actually be less of a threat. But I have to wake up my Archeops from this sleep, which, if this Malamar gets at least 2 boosts from Superpower, he will be able to OHKO my Vileplume, thus preventing me from being able to wake up my Archeops, and getting rid of the one thing that I have to knock it out, as he brings in the Malamar. No, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. I'm going to go straight for the Roar, just because I want to see how much damage Superpower will do. So it only does 35%, which is really nice, and I'm going to be able to phase him out, which is even better, as I bring him into the Seismitoad, which is absolutely perfect. This is perfect, because now I should be able to get a free switch into Vileplume. There is no way he can knock me out, even with the crit, and I can go for the aromatherapy. Oh, okay. Oh my lord, I was so scared. If he had got a freeze there, the match was over. I got swept by Malamar. Thankfully, he did not freeze me. As he tries to bring in the Torkoal, I'm guessing he thought I would go for the aromatherapy maybe. But honestly, just going for Giga Drain in that situation was my better play to do. And now I have Archeops, which can easily check and take on this Malamar. So I'm honestly not too worried about it. If it does turn out to be a Rest Talk variant, however, I can just trick him and lock him into Sleep Talk as he brings in the Audino. Well, yeah, even if he has Healing Wish, I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to be able to finish him off with the Giga Drain. And I believe at this point the battle is basically mine, because I have nothing to worry about from anything that he has left. And I still have 5 Mons that can take on his Mons, as it brings in Malamar. And I'm just going to try to get off as much damage as I can with the Sludge Bomb, as unfortunately a crit will end up taking me out, but this does now allow me just to freely bring in Archeops, and U-turn being 4 times super effective will be more than enough to knock out this Malamar. However, okay, good. I was a little bit worried that he was going to be scarfed there for a sec. And it doesn't really matter what I bring in, because either way he's going to get a free switch into Seismitoad. So I think I'm going to bring in Rikishi. This way I do have Fake Out, and if he does burn me with a Scald, Close Combat should still be strong enough to finish him off. But he actually ends up bringing in the Miss Mages. I do have the knockoff, which even after a Kobo Berry will not save him, as I straight up Oko it. And that is going to be a good game, because Seismitoad will indeed get knocked out by anything from my Archeops or even just by my Hariyama. So yeah guys, that was the live. Hopefully y'all did enjoy. And let's take a quick look at the team again. I really like this wall core of Steelix, Primplup, and Vileplume. However though, a problem to this team is Mantine, which I've recently seen a rise in Mantine in NU. I'm not sure why. But yeah, just I don't know. I really like this team. I really do. I want to use this on Wi-Fi and just get battles with it against some of my subscribers. And yeah, of course, if you guys did enjoy, then make sure to hit the like button down below. A like can go a long way. And also let me know if you guys would still like me to do these long showdown lives. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow with most likely a Wi-Fi battle. So with that being said, I will see you all later. I need to get a proper outro.